before, but I really want to get into the importance and how this is applicable to building your guys' business, improving sales performance, and all that sort of thing. So we'll get into that, and then I want to leave you guys with kind of 6 main steps or principles that you can start implementing into your life in order to start seeing more energy, better body composition, more discipline, more self-control. Those are a lot of the skills that come from fitness as the foundation that are going to bleed over into these other areas in your performance in business. So as far as structure for the day, like I said, go over why fitness matters in sales and leadership, how fitness is going to equal some better performance for you guys, and then 6 key principles for peak energy and performance and what some of those action steps look like. So to start off with, a little bit just on who I am and my background. Grew up in Montana, went to school at Montana State, got a degree in exercise science, certified nutrition coach, personal trainer, gone through multiple other different certifications, J3 University. Created the Lean and Lethal Project. That's my online coaching company, help men get in the best shape and perform at their best. I like hunting, fishing, skiing. I've done Ironmans, big into lifting, played football, basketball, all those sports growing up. So there's a bit about me. Now getting into sales. Who do you think is going to sell more? The guy that is in shape, full of energy, or the guy that is out of shape, lacks energy, lacks self-control? I think we can all answer that question on a surface level. And while it's not always the most enlightening thing to think that customers or clients are going to judge a book by their cover, everybody does. How you portray yourself, you are your own business card. When you walk into a room and someone sees that you're in shape, that instantly tells them that, damn, this guy can take care of himself. This guy can make the hard decisions. If he can take care of himself like that, I know that he can take care of me. On the other side, if someone's sloppy, out of shape, they're not dressed well, their shirt's all untucked, their shoes untied, they look like a mess, you can't take care of yourself, that person's not really going to think that you can take care of them. So when we take care of our fitness, when we take care of our nutrition, when you take care of your sleep, that's going to lead to more energy. More energy is going to lead to a better presence on sales calls. You're going to want to make more of those calls. You guys just got done talking about making more phone calls, reaching out to leads, engaging with people. More confidence when you carry yourself, when your head's held high, when your chest is high, you like how you look, you like your appearance, more confidence is going to build more trust with those clients and people. And this goes to recruiting people as well. Like when you have that elevated status and people want to be like you, they're going to be more likely to want to join your team. That's a big part of this, is that culture. So you lead yourself, you lead from the front, people are going to want to be, ooh, fancy, be a part of that. So, all right,
Just hit allow.
Allow us to download your crypto then?
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah. Maybe. Whatever. Oh, sweet. So some harsh realities. If you're not in shape, somebody else is in shape, that's someone else maybe getting the deal that could have been yours because they had more of a presence, they stood out to somebody. Recognition. Somebody might have less knowledge than you. You're better at putting together plans for somebody, but because they're in shape, they portrayed themselves better, they're going to get that deal and not you. It doesn't always come down to who's better, who knows more about the financial industry, your guys' plans or services or products that you have to offer. Oftentimes, someone else could be getting that deal because they look sharper and they carry themselves better than you. Sales performance, discipline in fitness is going to mirror discipline in sales. If you can control what you put in your mouth, when you move your body, when you go to bed, those things are going to translate over to making those hard phone calls, putting in that extra hour of work, putting together that plan where you might not necessarily want to, but you know you need to, for your family, for yourself, for your team, for your business. All of these things are important here. So, stamina for long days, energy. Fitness is going to build up that stamina, energy, so that you can push through those long work days. This is also going to come from nutrition. This is going to come from sleep. This is going to come from moving more throughout the day. Lifting, putting your body in these stressful situations voluntarily, that's going to build up your body's resilience to stress. You hear a lot of people talk about how it's that their work day is so stressful, and then they go home and like, man, I had a stressful day. I need a beer. I need a glass of wine. That isn't helping your body with deal with that stress anymore. So if we can continue to voluntarily put ourselves in stressful situations that are simple things like lifting weights, your body and your brain are going to adapt to that, and you're going to be able to handle other stressful situations, whether it's talking to a big client or something like that. Your body's going to be able to handle that better. Your body perceives stress all in the same way, whether it's running from a bear or having an uncomfortable conversation with somebody. It's all the exact same in terms of how your body handles that. We talked a lot about presence already and reflection of your habits. Someone's going to look at you, and that is an exact reflection of your discipline, of your self-control, of your work ethic, all of those things. So if we can get ourselves in shape, looking good, feeling good, having more energy, we're going to be able to put more out. So now, in terms of some 6 principles like I talked about here to give you guys that peak performance and output in your life, we got fuel, prioritize, move, train, sleep, and systems. So we'll start off with fuel. What you put in your body, that is your energy. Just like how in finances, when budgeting, you have a certain amount of money and you want to allocate it, you want to get the best return on your investment. Calories, macros are the same sort of thing. There's a lot of correlations that I make between the finance industry and your nutrition and fitness. So you have a certain amount of calories every single day. Your calories are going to dictate whether or not your weight goes up or down. So if you're trying to lose some weight, we need to be in a caloric surplus. If we're trying to gain some muscle, or we need to be in a caloric deficit if we're trying to lose some weight. If we want to build some muscle, we got to be in a caloric surplus. If we're just trying to maintain weight, then you eat it at maintenance. And then with that calorie budget, you want to maximize the amount of micronutrients that you can get. That's where you hear people talk about eating whole foods, eating clean. Those foods have more micronutrients, which are really going to dictate how you feel. So we want to be able to maximize the amount of micronutrients we get from that caloric budget that we have every single day. So what does that look like? Prioritizing whole foods, prioritizing protein, and creating a consistent structure, which then we'll get into down here with the systems. Oh, we'll move back. Whoa. All right, next one, prioritize. Your time is limited. You guys are all busy. You got a lot on your plate. So if we're able to identify what these maximum levers are that we can pull, or what the minimum effective dose is in certain areas, a lot of people start spinning their wheels because they're doing so many things, the carnivore diet, fasting, running, all these things that aren't really moving the needle in their life. And then they feel stuck. They feel like they're spending all this time, and then they just say, F it, it's not worth it. I don't need to focus on fitness. But if you can figure out what that minimum effective dose is, what those maximum levers are that you can pull, you can spend 4 hours a week, which is like 1% of your time a week, and see absolutely 180 in how you feel, how you look, how you perform, how you show up. So it's identifying what those levers are in your life, and then just focusing on that minimum effective dose. Not doing too much, but not doing too little. Finding exactly what's going to move the needle, and then being consistent with that over time. Movement. You don't need to run to lose weight. You don't need to spend hours on cardio machines, but moving your body more throughout the day, that's where you're going to burn more calories. But also just simply walking, it's going to improve your focus, improve your memory, improve your blood flow throughout your body so that you're not as sore, so that you are higher in energy. Those nutrients are getting delivered versus just sitting there stagnant all day, and then you start to get brain fog and whatnot. So simply implementing things like a step goal, being consistent and hitting that. Another big powerful thing with having a step goal every single day, regardless of what the number is, having that box that you need to check builds an immense amount of self-control and discipline. You know, forces you to plan out your day and structure and systematize it as well. Because when you get to the end of the day and you've been super busy and you got an extra 2,000 steps to do and it's 11 o'clock and you'd rather watch Netflix, but you go check that box and you go walk for 20 minutes, that's going to do big things up here, and that's going to start to rewire your mind to do whatever it takes to set those targets that you have. Yeah.
Do you have a recommended step goal for
for the day? I mean,
I would say figure out where you are right now on average and then increase it by 3,000. Because if someone's walking 2,000 steps right now, I'm not going to say go walk 10,000 steps. But if you're walking 8,000 steps, then yeah, you can get to 10,000. So
10,000 is a good goal, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody should eventually get up to like 10,000 or so, between 8 and 12, depending on what your goal is. I'm trying to lean out a little bit, so I'm doing 12,000 a day right now. Britt's doing 10,000 a day right now. But just find out where your starting point is, increase that by 2 to 3,000, and then just be consistent with that. Like I said, checking that box, no matter how hard or inconvenient or difficult it is, that's going to do a lot in terms of building that discipline and self-control. Eventually, you're going to figure it out where it's like you're checking that box at 4 p.m. and it's a piece of cake. Some days are going to come around and, like I said, 11 p.m. and you're like, damn, I still got 20 minutes of walking to do. Yeah.
Can I make a comment real quick? When you guys are doing the walking, if you want to just hit a certain step goal, when you're calling these leads and those AI leads, it takes 2 seconds to just say, hey guys, I'm like, it's not hard to make a call while you're walking.
Exactly.
That's what I do. I just punch in the number, I go to my computer, get the number, and then I walk laps around the room.
That's where it's one of those things that it can be a huge lever to pull, and you're going to see a lot of benefit. And a lot of people go, oh, I don't have time to go walk for 90 minutes a day. Walk while you're on phone calls. Get a standing desk and have a walking pad at it. Park at the back of the parking lot when you go to the grocery store. You do all these little things. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. All of that is going to add up, and before you know it, you're easily getting 10,000 steps a day without having to go on extra walks at night or in the morning. Walk 10 minutes before your workout, walk 15 minutes after your workout. It's like a warm up and a cool down. But just finding little areas like that where you can implement these tiny little habits are going to start to make big changes. And you're going to see that show up in your body composition, in your energy. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have better digestion because of it. So lots of benefits. Walking's definitely overlooked. Sleep. Sleep is probably the most important thing. Everyone's like looking at what supplements they can throw in, what hacks they can do. Should I take steroids, whatever. It's like if you're neglecting your sleep, like sleep is a steroid, essentially. Like that's the closest thing to performance enhancing drugs that has zero negative side effects. So setting up a solid night routine, a solid morning routine. The biggest things are first setting your environment. So completely dark room. If there's lights, you can put little like electrical tape over them so that it is completely dark. Because when your body is exposed to light, that shuts off melatonin production. When it's completely dark, that melatonin production starts. So if you're blasting bright lights in your face with screens and all that right before to go to bed, your body thinks, oh, it's still daylight. We don't need to start secreting melatonin yet. So make sure it's completely dark. Get blackout shades in your room. If you're not able to do that, get one of the eye masks. Find one that has like a little bit of a border on it so that there's not like pressure on your eyes, because there's some that are just terrible, completely uncomfortable, and feels like you got a wire through your eyes. But there's plenty of good ones out there nowadays, and it's definitely worth the investment, especially if you're traveling a lot.
Doesn't that freak you out a little bit?
Not really.
I put one of those on, I'm like, all right, who's walking up on me?
Usually it falls off in the night. So like I go to bed with it on.
Horror movies with the ladies with their sleep thing, and there's that guy standing over her, and like, I know, I'm just teasing. So.
I mean, you can get really into it, and people have like eye mask and mouth tape and all that stuff, and then they start to look pretty funny.
JR has more than the average, person, people walking up on him.
Hey, that really freaks me out. I don't know why. So.
Well, either way, if your room's completely dark, you shouldn't be able to see anybody at the end of the bed anyways, or the boogeyman under your bed. Training, strength training. I think a lot of people think it's just a hobby. It's not a hobby. If you start to see strength training as the equivalent of brushing your teeth for the rest of your body, for taking care of your bones, your muscles, and your organs, that's the benefit of it. The benefit is not to lose body fat. It's to build strong bones, strong muscles, strong organs. And you don't need a lot of time every single week doing it. You can do 3 30-minute lifts a week if you're not already lifting, and make plenty of progress with that. Just focusing on compound lifts, progressive overload. So every time you go in there, trying to lift 1 more rep than you did the previous time, or lifting 5 more pounds than you did the previous time. You keep doing that, you're gonna keep getting stronger. And seeing that, like I said, not as a hobby, but as a requirement to maintain your body. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You don't need to get hyped up, or you don't see brushing your teeth as a hobby. You have one set of teeth and you want to keep them looking nice. Same goes for the rest of your body. So if you can make that shift, it makes seeing that investment of your time, like I said too, 90 minutes a week, less than 1% of your time every single week, and you're gonna get a lot of benefits out of that. So I think that's one thing where people think working out, they gotta go into the gym, they gotta get all sweaty and just kill themselves every time, spend an hour on the treadmill and then go lift. You don't need that. You can go into the gym, progressive overload program, lifting for 30 minutes. You might not even break a sweat, but you'll still get an amazing workout and amazing benefits out of that. Last one, systems. Motivation's gonna come and go. You're gonna have feelings at time, but if we're relying on our feelings and not the plan, you're gonna end up eating Netflix and watching Ben and Jerry's. Eating Ben and Jerry's and watching Netflix every single night. So we got to put these systems into play, just like with business, in terms of time blocking your morning when you're calling certain leads those first 3 hours of the day. If you make that same thing happen here, you program your workouts in, you put them in your calendar, just like you would Zoom calls with other people, and you make that happen, make that a non-negotiable. You find one time a week to prep all your meals or order meals if you're using a meal prep company. You can make all of this run on autopilot, just like brushing your teeth once again. Because if we're just kind of going on a whim, doing it when we feel like it, then just like with everything else, and you're making excuses some days, then that's going to bleed into other areas. You're going to start to make excuses for why you're not making calls, if you're making excuses on why you're not going to the gym or doing these other habits. So systemizing them, setting a plan and sticking to that, having accountability partners, find somebody else on the team here to help hold you accountable and hold each other to it. Make sure you guys got a roadmap set up, and then don't negotiate with that. So now here's some sort of exact things in each of those categories that you guys can start implementing. So as far as fuel goes, protein in every single meal. Base all your meals around whole foods. We talked about those sort of empty calories and then maximizing your calorie budget for micronutrients. So base your meals around whole foods. Try to avoid as many processed snacks and convenience foods as possible. Track your nutrition if you've never done it. Track it with a simple app like MyFitnessPal. It's going to give you a lot of awareness, just like doing a budget for the first time or some sort of financial analysis or setting up a financial plan. The first time you ever track your food, it's going to bring a lot of awareness and a lot of accountability to your nutrition in your life in that aspect. As far as protein goes, try to get around a gram of protein per pound of body weight. You start hitting that metric, you're going to be more satiated, you're going to be less likely to eat junk food, and you're going to see your body composition improve. Training, talked about this. 3 to 5 sessions a week. If you haven't lifted, 3 lifts a week, 30 minutes, focusing on those compound lifts. Track your progress so you can improve either your weight or your reps every single week. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be getting stronger. You're going to be building muscle.
Hey, Bridger,
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So, like for me,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to get bigger.
And you're not going to.
So, but you say compound lifts.
Yep.
What do you mean by that? Like, what for somebody like me that just wants to get more stronger but more like lean rather than bulk, what would you recommend?
The same exact thing.
Okay.
Lifting's not gonna change either way. Lots of people, men and women, come in and they're like, well, I don't want to be big and bulky. I'm like, there's guys that have been lifting for 20 years trying to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they still don't look like him. So that is never a concern. Where that is the differentiation there is gonna come in is with nutrition. So if you're lifting and you're in a surplus with your calories, meaning you're eating more calories than you're burning, your body is going to be building muscle and using that to create new tissue. If you're in a deficit, you're burning more calories than you're consuming, and you're still training the same way, training hard, progressive overload, then that's going to make sure that you're maintaining the muscle mass you already have while your body's burning fat. And that's where that toned, lean look is going to come in.
Heavier.
Correct.
Okay.
And then compound lifts, that's just using barbells, dumbbells, things like that, where you're using multiple muscle groups with one movement, because that's going to be more efficient on your time. You can hit your back, your hamstrings, and your glutes all with an RDL, versus if you're like one of the guys that's hopping on all the machines, that guy spends an hour and a half in there because he's doing one body part on every single machine, moving to the next. Versus you do a deadlift, you're working your core, you're working your back, you're working your glutes, you're working your hamstrings, a lot more time efficient, which is important. Prioritize, like we talked about, find the biggest lever, where you have that biggest sort of deficit. Maybe steps is the first thing, where you're only walking 1,000 steps a day from your car to the office and your office to your house, and that is it. That would be a huge lever for you to pull. Maybe your nutrition is terrible, inconsistent, all over the place. That might be the biggest lever you can pull. Maybe it's your sleep. So find what that is, prioritize that one thing. Use the daily checklist. I'll go over some kind of ways to track it here at the end and set some goals. Sleep, set a hard cutoff for screens before bed. That's going to be the number one thing. We talked about the light exposure and how that affects melatonin. Create a consistent routine around your bedtime. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. And use tools, Oura rings, Whoops, Garmin watches, things like that, so you can actually start to get some data back. But then don't just look at the number and disregard it. Look at the number. You get a 60 sleep score, then think, all right, what did I do last night that really wrecked the quality of my sleep? And then start to make that correlation. You get a 99 sleep score. Okay, whatever I did last night, I need to keep doing because my sleep is amazing. So use some of those fitness tracking tools and then pay attention to that data you get from them. Move, talked about steps already. 8 to 10,000 steps a day. If you're super low, I would just add 3,000 to it and then get consistent with that. Break it up, short walks between calls, after meals. Your phone tracks that, or you can get a smartwatch or some sort of other fitness tracker, Whoop, Oura ring, or you can just go on Amazon and get a little pedometer, clip it on your waistband. It's like $5 and that'll track your steps and give you some accountability there. Systems. Meal prep on Sundays. If you don't want to cook yourself, leverage a meal prep service. There's always answers to it. You don't have time to go to the grocery store, use Instacart, have your groceries delivered. There's ways where you can pretty much systematize and automate all of your nutrition if you really don't want to cook. But find something that works for you. Schedule in your workouts, put them in your calendar, use checklists, accountability, and then automate as many decisions as you can. The goal isn't to try to come up with some new meal every single day and be Gordon Ramsay. We all have a lot of important decisions to make with business, so the less decision fatigue that we can have and the more things we can automate. That's why people like Zuckerberg wear the same outfit every single day, because they want to eliminate that decision fatigue. So have the same breakfast every single day. Have a similar lunch every single day. Have a consistent protein shake, maybe mid-afternoon. Go on walks at the same time. Everything that you can systematize and make the same, it's one less decision that you have to make throughout the day that you can put that energy into something else, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your business, whatever it is. All right, so those are the 6 main principles for growth that I kind of think give you an overarching blueprint as to where you can start making some improvements with your health. Now, as far as how to progress it now, so step 1 is assess. Figure out where you're at in these different areas. After that, you can make that adjustment, whether it's like movement, seeing where your steps are at, setting the step goal, start working on being consistent with it. Macros. Set your protein target, plan ahead, plan some meals so you know that you can hit that consistently. Sleep. Set a nightly routine. Set some clear boundaries. When your last meal is going to be, 4 hours before bed, when you're done with screen time, when you are in bed with the lights off. Like, set that time, set those boundaries, and stick to it. Using the on your phone, the different focus modes, that's super beneficial, whether it's focusing at work or setting screen time things. Set the night mode on your phone so it brings it to like warmer color temperatures. Another thing you can do is, you'll see people wear like the fancy red light glasses or the weird looking ones at night. Another thing you can do with your phone is set up a setting so you can triple click that and it makes it all red. So there's not a lot of bright blue light in your eyes if you do need to check your phone at night or in those last couple hours before bed. Training.
How do you do that?
I'll make a video or a screen recording and send it out to everybody just to make that easy. There's a few steps there. Identity. This is one of the big drivers of change, I believe, when it comes to your health and fitness and why you're in the certain situation you're in. So if you can make that clear, and the same thing comes for business goals and things like that. You need to figure out who the person is that you want to become, whether it is the business owner or the fit version of yourself. Outline what that person does and then start making decisions every day that are in alignment with that future version of yourself. If you're somebody before that was lazy and ate fast food 3 times a day, don't continue to tell yourself that you're that person, because you're going to continue to act that way. So have that clear vision of what that identity looks like, what the requirement is, and then just act every day in alignment with that person. There's going to be times you're not there, you slip up, you make the wrong decision, but as soon as you can get back on track and keep making progress towards that, the better. So this is just a constant cycle. You assess, you measure it, you adjust it, and then you accelerate it. And then every few months, you do the same thing. You reassess, you adjust, you accelerate it. But this is the power of, if you actually track these things and have numbers, you can guarantee that you're making progress, versus the people that are like, well, I work out every now and then, or I just eat clean. It's like they're not tracking anything. They might make some progress here and there, but it's like same with all of your guys' financial planning. You're putting clear numbers to paper, showing people how they're going to get from point A to point B. You should do the same exact thing with your health. Here's some examples. Create a simple daily tracker. Put a few different goals in there: movement, your fuel, calories, sleep, whatever you decide are those biggest levers for you. Make this on your phone. I can give you guys a blank version of this, and then just start checking those boxes off throughout the week. Whether it's just a checkbox, you write yes or no, you record what the metric is you hit for the day. Just start creating some sort of system where you can measure it, create some accountability for yourself there. So, and then same with nutrition. Go through a week and just map out, like, eat as you already do. Write everything down or log it in one of those apps like MyFitnessPal, like I said. And then at the end of the week, go through it and look at, all right, where's the biggest area or gap where I can make improvement? Maybe you're only eating 40 grams of protein per day. I know earlier I told Britt, like, he's eating 200 grams of protein a day when he was eating like 120. I was like, this is how much women are eating. We need to get that up. If you want to start looking and feeling like a man, we need to increase that. So figure out where those gaps are. Highly, highly recommend, if you haven't ever just like mapped out your nutrition for a week, do that, and then look at the meals. Is like, are these healthy, balanced meals, or am I eating like a 7-year-old kid eating Pop-Tarts for breakfast and some fruit snacks for lunch and zero nutritional value that's really going to elevate my mindset and my focus and my energy throughout the day, so that I can show up as the best leader, father, husband, whatever it is there. So I can give you guys blank versions of these if you want them to, but you can just do it in your notes or use an app like MyFitnessPal. So any questions? That is all I got for you.
Question, what do you think of intermittent fasting
What is the goal?
to lose weight? Like 10 to 15 pounds, but also just, so I heard something called 3-2-1. It's 3 hours before you go to sleep, you stop eating. 2 hours you stop business, and 1 hour you stop your screen time, right?
Yep, I like that.
But, so I just wondered what you think, like, right now, because I'm trying to do like 10 to 6 in my eating. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
As far as intermittent fasting goes, all it is a method to restrict your calories. Just like carnivore, the method that restricts calories is cutting out all of the carbs and extra food. Keto cuts out carbohydrates. Those are all methods that have one rule. If we actually start tracking your calories and protein, you know exactly how much, and it doesn't matter when the time frame is. You actually have control over that. You have full autonomy to where you can plan your meals, and then as you get to a point where the weight loss stalls out, you can make an adjustment in that number. When you're doing things like intermittent fasting, one, you're shortening that time window. You're probably not going to get enough protein in. You're probably going to be a lot hungrier when you do eat, and you're going to eat foods that aren't the best for you because of that. I think the best method is to set a sort of meal schedule or routine, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that you're eating ahead of time and you're able to plan out these meals, versus if we're waiting till 2 in the afternoon to eat, then we are hungry all morning. We get to that point and you want the first thing that you can get. You just care about convenience. Give me some food now. You don't really care what it is. But if we're actually putting numbers to it and being able to manage it and track it, you're going to guarantee your success down the road. And it's going to teach you a lot too in terms of what the composition of different foods are, because the goal isn't to track for the rest of your life. But if you've never tracked before, that creates a lot of accountability and awareness around food and a skill. Just like you have a basic financial knowledge, we should all have a basic nutrition knowledge, I believe. So then you have that skill to where you can make the right decisions with certain foods. You know what certain foods are made of, and then you're able to make those choices and those adjustments without having to track eventually. That's the goal there.
And that's one of the things that you talked to me about was like when you talk about the nutrition inside of it, right? Like is we're not just trying to shed weight off you, right? I mean that's the goal. We want to lose weight, but it's more so like the lifestyle behind it, right? Like you could go make $2 million somewhere else at a corporate office, but how much are you home? It's the same thing here. It's like when you're eating the nutrition. If you fast for 3 days, yeah, you're maybe going to shed a lot of weight, but you're going to go right back to those same patterns. What did you eat? How did you put the weight on in the first place? And that's one of the things that I've actually understood a lot more with him is, okay, we're not just trying to make you lose weight and lean up. We're trying to create that lifestyle so when you do lose and you lean up, it's a flow of you. That's who you are. It's an identity at that point.
And there's a big difference too between, you hear people talk about weight loss and fat loss. Those are two completely different things, because we can lose a lot of weight where that weight is muscle mass, that weight is water weight, and that weight is fat. We want to be just losing fat tissue. That's what matters. That's what we want to stay off. So in order to do that, you got to have the right calories, because calories dictate whether or not your weight goes up or down. And then you got to make sure you're getting enough protein, because that protein is going to make sure that you're keeping and retaining that muscle mass. If you have a severe calorie deficit, you're not getting enough protein, and you're not strength training, giving your muscles a stimulus to stick around, then you're going to be losing a lot of muscle along with that. That's why like all these new weight loss drugs, semaglutide, Wegovy, things like that, that just kills people's appetite, and then they go basically to not eating, having like one meal all day. They're not eating any protein. They're not strength training. So a lot of weight they're losing is muscle mass too. And then at the end of the day, it's like their body fat percentage is the same, if not even worse, because they lost 30 pounds of muscle and they still have all of that fat. So now they went from whatever it was, 20% body fat to 23% body fat, except they still lost 30 pounds. So that differentiation between actual fat loss and weight loss is huge to think about too. And in terms of like progression for fat loss, you're only looking about like 1% of your body weight per week. So if you're 200 pounds, you should be aiming to lose around 2 pounds per week at max.
At max?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the carnivore diet? Because you talked about micronutrients. Are you going to be getting all of that from?
No. Even the guy who created the carnivore diet and kind of made it popular, he wrote the book, The Carnivore Code. He's even came out in the last couple of years and said it is not a healthy diet or lifestyle. You're lacking a lot of nutrients, you're lacking fiber. And when he was writing the book, it blows my mind that he even like came out and like said this. He even said that when he was writing the book, like halfway through, he realized that it wasn't healthy and wasn't sustainable. He still went through and finished and published the book.
What?
Yeah.
Those dollar bills, y'all.
Exactly.
That's funny.
And then he's all about not having any processed things, yet the same guy owns a supplement company. Funny how that works.